In our country, there are protections for freedom and limits on power. Ron DeSantis may not like them. He may not respect them, but he does have to follow them. This morning, I filed a suit in federal court to challenge the blatant abuse of power by Governor DeSantis in suspending the state attorney.
Someone talking about Ron DeSantis' blatant misuse of power is nothing new. In this particular case, at least Andrew Warren is a Florida state attorney. He was ousted by Ron DeSantis for saying things about how he would carry on with his job. So he called this a politically motivated attack. Let's talk about why this even happened. On August 4th, Ron DeSantis suspended Tampa's elected prosecutor, Andrew Warren, for pledging not to use his office to go after people who seek and provide abortions, or on doctors that provide gender-affirming care to transgender people. I mean, doctors that do their job and service towards their patients. He said he's not gonna go after prosecuting them, so now Ron DeSantis is mad. He said this announcement proves that Warren is incompetent. But Warren's not backing down, he has more to say. Let's watch.
I'm a twice elected county prosecutor who spent my professional career locking up fraudsters and violent criminals. Without warning, I was forced out of my office by an armed deputy, removed from my elected position, and replaced with a Ron DeSantis accomplice. The governor's authority is not unlimited. He can disagree with my political views. He can disagree with my criminal justice philosophy. He can even disagree with my unwavering commitment to public safety, fairness, and justice. And he can do all those things because he's protected by the First Amendment. But the First Amendment doesn't just protect him, it protects everyone, even those of us he disagrees with.
I guess the battle lines are beginning to be drawn, because once you start suspending and eliminating folks because of what they said they're doing, as Andrew Warren is pointing out there, now we're just talking about First Amendment stuff, which I thought the Republican Party was definitely hell-bent on. Ron DeSantis had his own things to say for his First Amendment rights, but he wanted to describe what's going on with abortions and the reasons why he's ousting this particular guy, because he's thinking about the children. Let's watch his description of how he's talking here about this.
And then most recently, after the Dobbs decision was rendered by the US Supreme Court, he signed a letter saying he would not enforce any laws relating to protecting the right to life in the state of Florida. And mind you, we have had prohibition on third trimester abortions for a long time. We've had prohibitions on partial birth abortions for a long time. And then most recently, the legislature enacted and I signed protections for unborn babies at 3.5 months. And when they are aborted, it's typically done through a dismemberment procedure, which is really inhumane. Nevertheless, that is what the legislature has enacted, and it's not for him to put himself above that and say that he is not going to enforce the laws. And so today, we are suspending State Attorney Andrew Warren effective immediately.
Just completely cutting out an elected official here. Let's cheer that on. Let's go down a graphic for you guys, because Warren was still responding to how this was going on and how this could actually be in place in the unconstitutionality of many of these rulings, these laws, and these bills that they keep pushing. Warren argued that Florida's law that DeSantis signed banning abortions at 15 weeks of pregnancy is unconstitutional. He says, I can't enforce an unconstitutional law, and no case has come before me yet. This isn't about anything that I've done. This is about what I've said, as we pointed out multiple times. So it's a preemptive strike, if you would, about making sure that they come after these folks and anyone else that may think about carrying on the way that they would. This is a dictatorship, don't you know? So Ron DeSantis wants you guys to know before he runs for president. What's your thoughts, Ben?
Yeah, I mean, this is an interesting case because it definitely is showing early signs of DeSantis becoming more of an authoritarian leader even within his own state. And it is true that technically the governor does have the ability to take somebody out of office. I think the statute says if they are neglect of duty for drunkenness and things like that, and he's charging him with neglect of duty. But you're right, he has not yet done anything to warrant it. Warren hasn't warranted it just yet. The most egregious thing he did was sign on to some pledge that many prosecutors around the country have signed on to, saying that they will not prioritize on a case-by-case basis whether or not they will enforce certain abortion laws, which is exactly the the way that prosecutors are supposed to handle it. Even DeSantis admitted that during his speech firing him. He said, look, he's allowed on a case-by-case basis to do it, but just not broadly. But like you also pointed out, he has not done anything yet. This is just theoretical. And if it were an appointed prosecutor, you'd see maybe more of an argument from DeSantis that he can then decide whether to remove him or not if he feels he's not following the laws, because no matter how terrible your laws are in your state, it is the job of maybe an appointed prosecutor to follow them, as one elected as well. But when you're elected by the people, elected twice in just one specific county, the whole purpose of smaller governments, it's supposed to be what Republicans believe in, is each smaller government and more local government is supposed to be more directly what the people want. Give them a chance to do that in that county and run it as they see fit. And if at that point it's falling out of favor with what the law is, you then take action. But the only thing I will support what DeSantis said in a more broad theoretical sense is just that this is a symptom of the greater problem. Yes, it's ridiculous to be taking out this elected official, but also letting them stay there almost masks the bigger problem. It's good to see DeSantis kind of getting out of control, because the bigger issue is the laws. The bigger issue is the laws that this state is passing. And so this gives us a chance to say and to see in the bright of day, oh, I see, okay, so he's taking people out that are just trying to defend human rights, that are just trying to say, even while this law is being debated, it's still being adjudicated, the law is being appealed. One judge already said it's unconstitutional. So he's just saying, let's let this play out. Until then, I'm not gonna prioritize it. So the bigger issue is electing governors that are gonna pass these draconian laws that take human rights away, and less so an individual prosecutor. And on that respect, it's like, yeah, you got a governor that's a real jerk that's gonna be taking people's rights away. That's your bigger issue. Of course, he's gonna be taking people out of office that don't agree with him. So let the chips fall where they may, and maybe elect a different governor.
We're seeing some of the numbers too, as far as the people who are in support of reproductive rights for folks to make a choice about their own lives. But who cares about that? It's Ron DeSantis.
People's opinion doesn't matter when you got a guy like DeSantis in there. He's strong, he's got jackets, he's got Trump-like hand movements. We've been supporting this for a long time. Once you got that down, the people's opinion really diminishes. Once you have a real strong man up there, forget the people. I've always said that, starting right now and only now.
You already forgot, Ben. Those are ill-fitting jackets that he's got on.
My mistake, you're right.
Jesus, man.
Take it off.
Make sure we keep it straight.